Peace, family. It's your brother, Marc Lamont Hill, here on the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel. Day 115 of Israel's war on Gaza. It is a unbelievable development that we've seen. Not only are we entering October, November, December, January, month 4, or leaving month 4, almost going into month 5, of this vicious assault on the Gaza Strip, this vicious bombardment of the Gaza Strip. But things aren't necessarily getting better. Things seem to be getting worse. And as things get worse, mainstream media continues to ignore some of the worst parts. They continue to gloss over some of the toughest developments. This is not an easy situation, and it's not getting any better. Anyway, drop your name in here, drop your location, drop your city, drop your state, drop your country. Let me know where you're writing in from so we can get going and start talking. But I always like to know who I'm talking to. We got Des coming in from Chicago, Illinois. Shout out to you being the first one in the room. Wa alaikum salam, Iram. Thank you. WM, shout out to you. Des with the Palestinian flag. JN88 from Edinburgh. Appreciate you. Isha Abu Ahmed from San Diego. Pan Diesel coming from Oaktown. One Earth United from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Tracy Ruling from Vancouver. Nita Condry, I still love that name. Or Anita Condry, I guess. Anita from East Texas. Claire from ATL. Ghost 33 from Akron. Salute to all of y'all. Appreciate y'all. Rose Ability. Gotta shout you out from Oakland because you're one of our MLH family members. And lastly, Lena Kadura, Palestinian in Vegas. Thank you all for being here. Shout out to everybody else who's in the room. Continue to drop your location, your name in. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. So much to cover today. I'm not going to keep you long, but I wanted to give you some of the big issues that are going on the ground right now. Some of the biggest updates today. January 29th today is? Yes, today, January 29th. We've seen some progress. Maybe I'll start with some good news for once. We're hearing that some of the humanitarian envoys, some of the humanitarian aid that has been blocked from getting into the Gaza Strip may be getting in soon. As of now, only 8 planned United Nations missions to northern Gaza have successfully gone ahead since the beginning of January. So in the last 22 days, 8 missions have not been successful. 29 aid convoys have been denied permission by Israeli authorities, while other deliveries were impeded by excessive delays. That's according to the UN's humanitarian agency in the West Bank and in Gaza and in East Jerusalem. But hopefully things will turn around. Some bad news. 3 United States troops were killed and dozens others injured in a drone strike on Sunday near a U.S. military base close to the Jordan-Syria border. The Islamic Resistance in Iraq. And if you don't know that organization, I don't want you confused with any other organization. The Islamic Resistance in Iraq is kind of an umbrella group of armed resistance movements that are all backed and funded by Iran. They've claimed responsibility for the killings and the injuries from the drone strike. President Biden has said that he is going to strike back. So what we're seeing right now is just a reminder, another firm, clear reminder that this ain't getting smaller. That the Jordan-Syria border, the Lebanon-Israel border, the West Bank, Gaza, the Red Sea, all these things are becoming fair game for violence. It's sad and it's disappointing. Complaints of anti-Muslim and anti-Palestinian discrimination and hate in the United States rose by about 180% in the first 3 months of Israel's war on Gaza. That's according to CARE, the Council for American Islamic Relations. So since October 7th, complaints of anti-Muslim and anti-Palestinian discrimination and hate have just grown by 180%. I also want to point out that according to Palestine Legal, they've also had an unprecedented increase. They've witnessed an unprecedented increase in how can I put it, in work-based complaints about Israel and Palestine as well. Also around anti-Muslim sentiment. Also about political expression, also about Islamophobia, etc. So all related to the question of Palestine. So again, this is not a small thing. Hundreds of members of the Israeli settler community gathered for a convention in Jerusalem on Sunday, calling for Israel to rebuild settlements in Gaza. The so-called Return to Gaza conference called for the voluntary migration of Palestinians from the enclave. So I'm going to say that again. Hundreds of Israeli settlers are trying to get Israel to resettle, as in pre-2006 settlements inside of Gaza, and for Palestinians to leave Gaza. This is part of the plan of voluntary resettlement that we keep hearing about. The idea here is that Palestinians will get kicked off the land, that Israel will take over the land. I mean, it sounds awful familiar, sounding real 1948 to me, y'all. And the fact that the Israeli settler community had a convention about it yesterday tells you everything you need to know. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is a very real thing. Of course, Palestine's Ministry of Foreign Affairs condemned the Jerusalem Convention, which was also attended by 11 ministers of Israel's new right-wing coalition government, as well as 15 Knesset members. So this is an important thing. All right, let's talk about some of the human impact here, which remains devastating. Over 26,000 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza. More than 62,000 have been injured already. The Palestine Red Crescent Society said on Sunday that it has buried 3 people in the courtyard of the Al Amal hospital in Khan Yunis in southern Gaza as Israeli forces besiege the area. So there's 2 things here. One, 3 more people have died in Khan Yunis near the hospital, and there's a bunch of hospitals there, but Al Nasser hospital and Al Amal hospital, I think, have been 2 that we've seen hearing a lot of violence around in the last few days. But not just that 3 more people have been killed, but also that they had to be buried in the courtyard of the hospital. There's no place to bury anybody. People are getting killed. People are buried under rubble. Graveyards are being razed and destroyed. There's literally no place to bury people. So people are doing what they can. Israeli forces shot and killed a man in the town of El Yamoun, west of Jenin in the occupied West Bank, early this morning, according to Al Jazeera Arabic. So again, West Bank killings, West Bank robberies, West Bank raids, West Bank home demolitions are also part of the post-October 7th reality for Palestinians, and it's something that we can't ignore. Now, here's something that was incredibly bone-chilling to me. Benny Gantz, who's a senior member of Netanyahu's government, and as you know, had his own moment in power, he says to the Times of Israel, or I should say he said to Channel 12 and quoted by the Times of Israel, he said that Israel's war against Hamas could last, quote, 10 years or even an entire generation. 10 years or even an entire generation. 10 years. Right now, there are 2.2 million people in Gaza. 1.7 million people have been displaced. They're homeless. They're unhoused. 1% of the child population has been killed. Another percentage point have been injured. Just children I'm talking about. When we see the number of people destroyed and killed after 3 months, 4 months, what do we think is going to happen after a year or 2? Much less what he's talking about, 10 or even a generation. This is a full-scale ethnic cleansing and genocide, and the world has to do something about it. South Africa. There was a vigil in Cape Town, South Africa on Sunday night to express solidarity with Palestinian journalists. About 200 people showed up. And the reason that this is important is because you're talking about almost 100 journalists who have been killed since October 7th in Gaza. And the right-wing media will tell you, oh, well, they got Hamas ties. Oh, they're radicals. Oh, they're crazy people. No, they're journalists. And they're being killed. And it's a war crime. It's a crime against democracy. It's a crime against any semblance of reasonableness, dignity, peace, justice, whatever you want to call it. It's indefensible. Japan announced on Sunday, yesterday, that it, like other countries, will be suspending additional funding to the United Nations Relief Works Agency, UNRWA, while it awaits the outcome of the investigation into the staff members. And that follows Australia, Canada, Germany, the United States, etc. As long as UNRWA remains unfunded because of this so-called investigation, Palestinian people will be denied access to food, clothing, and shelter, education, and healthcare. It's an indefensible act. It's a war crime. It is itself an act of genocide. It is in and of itself an act of collective punishment. And it's one that we need to be accountable for as a global community. We need to be pressing our governments to do better. We need to be pressing our governments to say more and do more, and to reinstate UNRWA funding, because as of now, what we're seeing is itself an act of genocide and an act of collective punishment. And it's something that just we cannot accept. We cannot accept. All right, family, that is the update for today. I want you to hit the like button so the algorithms know that y'all rocking with us. I want you to hit the subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber to the channel, so that you can join us in the journey here. And of course, if you're so inclined, hit the join button. You can get exclusive content. All you got to do is hit the join button and become a monthly member. And of course, if you're so inclined, I'd love for you to hit the MLHTV handle on Cash App. Go to Cash App and hit MLHTV and send us whatever you can manage, whatever you can afford. By becoming a monthly member, by joining, or by sending us direct cash funds, you allow us to expand our platform, to build a studio, to expand the voices that are on the channel, and to just do the work of creating radical education, political education, critical education, alternatives to mainstream and corporate media. That's what we do here, with your support and with your love. I want to thank you all for joining. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and I will see y'all again soon. Peace.